primary tonight. We know the challenges that tomorrow will bring are the greatest of our lifetime. 2 wars, a planet in peril, the worst financial crisis in a century. Even as we stand here tonight, we know there are brave Americans waking up in the deserts of Iraq and the mountains of Afghanistan to risk their lives for us.
Part of the reason we went into Iraq was the main reason we went into Iraq at the time was we thought he had weapons of mass destruction. It turns out he didn't, but he had the capacity to make weapons of mass destruction. But I also talked about the human suffering in Iraq, and I also talked the need to advance a freedom agenda.
So if there was no live television coverage of the first plane hitting the first tower, how do we explain the following comment from George Walker Bush?
What was the first thing that went through your head when you heard that a plane crashed?
Well, I was sitting in a schoolhouse in Florida. I'd gone down to tell my little brother what to do, and anyway, just kidding, Jeb. And it's the mother in me. Anyway, I was sitting there, and my chief of staff, well, first of all, when we walked in the classroom, I had seen this plane fly into the first building. There was a TV set on, and you know, I thought it was pilot error. I had seen this plane fly into the first building. There was a TV set on.
There was no live coverage at all of Flight 11 as it hit the North Tower.
I'd impeach him for sitting there for 7 minutes on 9/11 when he was told the country was under attack.
You would impeach the president for sitting there waiting for direction from his security people?
Waiting for direction? What direction was he waiting for?
What did you
He's
expect
the president,
of the
Joe.
United States to do? Jump up and run out of the classroom? Oh my God, we've been hit, we've been hit.
Yeah, listen to yourself. Listen to yourself. Is told the words, the country is under attack.
What did Iraq have to do with what?
The attack on the World Trade Center.
Nothing, except for it's part of, and nobody's ever suggested in this administration that Saddam Hussein ordered the attack. Iraq was the lesson of September 11th is take threats before they fully materialize, Ken. Nobody's ever suggested that the attacks of September the 11th were ordered by Iraq.
It's the answer that led those who've been told for so long by so many to be cynical and fearful and doubtful about what we can achieve, to put their hands on the arc of history and bend it once more toward the hope of a better day. It's been a long time coming.
It was Sunday, August 29th, 19 hours before Hurricane Katrina slams ashore on the Louisiana coast. The storm was still at sea, swirling and strengthening. Then FEMA Chief Michael Brown was briefing President Bush, Homeland Security Secretary Michael Chertoff, and local officials on the readiness plans. The meeting was recorded, and now, 6 months later, obtained exclusively by the Associated Press. The tape shows a clear sense of urgency.
My gut tells me, I told you guys, my gut was that this is a bad one and a big one. Everyone within FEMA is actually on call.
This is a Category 5 hurricane, very similar to Hurricane Andrew in the maximum intensity, but there's a big difference. This hurricane is much larger than Andrew ever was. I also want to make absolutely clear to everyone that the greatest potential for large loss of lives.
As you may or may not know, the Superdome is about 12 feet below sea level, so I don't know what the heck. And I also concerned about that roof. I don't know whether that roof is designed to withstand a Cat 5 hurricane.
President Bush was dialed into that briefing from his ranch in Crawford, Texas, and offers support for the ongoing efforts.
I want to assure the folks at the state level that we are fully prepared to not only help you during the storm, but we will move in whatever resources and assets we have at our disposal after the storm to help you deal with the loss of property, and we pray for no loss of life, of course.
There is frustration.
But I want people to know there's a lot of help coming. I don't think anybody anticipated the breach of the levees.
A seemingly direct contradiction to what is said at the briefing.
I don't think anyone can tell you with any confidence right now whether the levees will be topped or not. But that's obviously a very, very grave concern.
Concern for a storm that would leave more than 1,300 dead and 2,300 people missing. Steve Knight, The Associated Press.
The destruction of the spirit of the people of southern Louisiana and Mississippi may end up being the most tragic loss of all.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Please call.
There are mothers and fathers who will lie awake after their children fall asleep and wonder how they'll make the mortgage, or pay their doctor's bills, or save enough for their child's college education. There's new energy to harness, new jobs to be created, new schools to build, and threats to meet, alliances to repair.
Why do you continue to support a Nazi policy, as Obama has expressly supported this policy? Why are you supporting it?
On what planet do you spend most of your time? You want me to answer the question? Yes. As you stand there with a picture of the president, the face to look like Hitler, and compare the effort to increase health care to the Nazis.
Hang on a second.
We're proud to separate it.
But to be really clear, we're seeing the pictures right now. You're saying a guy has a gun in the open where we already know there are concerns about every president's safety, but certainly this historic president, the 44th president of the United States, and there's no, the guy's just being allowed to stay there? Is that right?
All right, now let's talk about this for a second. Do you think they would have let a guy with a gun anywhere near George W. Bush as he was giving a speech anywhere? They wouldn't let people in with the wrong shirts. They're watching their cars. If they had the wrong bumper stickers, they wouldn't let them in. They wouldn't let them anywhere near the vicinity. They'd arrest them.
The road ahead will be long. Our climb will be steep. We may not get there in 1 year or even in one term. But America, I have never been more hopeful than I am tonight that we will get there. I promise you, we as a people will get there.